rocket.
Yeah, I don't see that screenshot. That was the thing. I mean, I know it should be there someplace, but well, for
Wait,
folks
here's what you get to start with as far as move speed.
now, okay, right, moving slow. Yeah, you were zipping around there. Welcome to our Elite Dangerous. I was watching something else, so now I'm a little distracted. Our Elite Dangerous stream, the continuing journey of the Ardent Citadel. This will be our fourth week of jumps, our fourth series, which will take us approximately 2,500 light years further into the black as we continue to look for things that are new and unique or just plain cool to look at. That'll land us about 10,000 light years from the bubble. And we're gathering our crew of folks, to comment as we go. We have some stuff to talk about right now, and you can't see this. I have one of our number is demoing a new game, Planet Crafters, and I'm actually watching him as he's doing this in our Discord conversation that we have going on. So, unfortunately, I
Yeah,
can't.
perfectly innocent rocket.
Let me see that. Oh no. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, no one on stream is going to get that joke. But yeah, it is. It's a perfectly innocent rocket. Scary, very scary. Now we know where all that stuff came from.
The rocket fell over.
Oh, that's not good.
That's okay. It was beeping.
Okay, good deal.
I heard
So
you.
Ah,
right now we are actually waiting for one of our members, squadron members, to return to the carrier. He's a little tardy, but real life jumps game and all that. That's just the way it goes. So the carrier will be jumping shortly after he arrives, but I haven't heard from others that they need similar delays. So we'll get moving out here pretty shortly. Uh,
Yeah, I'll be pulling in shortly. I'm about to drop out of Super Cruise now, actually.
oh, sweet. Well, we will be able to see you land. What are you in tonight? What ship
I
are you?
am in my DVX right now.
Okay. Well, then let me. Yeah. We're in a good spot to watch that when you come out. Good. Consult our chart here. Captain Oracle is off. I'm not sure where the cat is. Run off to. Oh, here he is. Never mind. I mentioned his name and he came running. So what do you? He's running behind the monitor to do mischief there unseen. So he might join us here in his traditional resting spot, but it's entirely up to him. The cat entertains us at his whim. Yeah, I see. You're gonna land kind of behind the barrier.
wow.
See here. Request permission to land is very important.
Oh yeah, Carl likes to blow things up. And introducing, for those who have not met them, our bridge crew on the left, Carl, who is the voice that you'll be hearing all night, announcing carrier jump events. And Tetris guy, who basically just plays Tetris on his console all day. So we're not really sure what he does over there, but
You have arrived at your destination.
okay, sweet. So you're aboard. You're good.
Clamps engage. Hit that refuel while I'm at it. Go to hangar. And down we go.
Good deal. So let me get our first jump locked in. And then we can talk elite.
Do disembark. There we go.
Open galaxy map. So that'll be our first
Cool.
jump.
Oh, that's new.
What's that?
My settings did a weird little thing, and now my on-foot controls have remapped themselves to the gamepad that I use for SRV control. Interesting.
So you now have treads on your boots. So you go kind of remote controlling yourself forward and back. So 499.02 light years away. Your destination set. All right.
Oh, what the?
I'm sure you'll find your way up here before we jump. Otherwise, they could be tricky. You don't want to be left behind like poor Teal Neal was that one time. Let's have a seat. 15 minutes to jump. So, before we get started with news and new events, let's talk about your various adventures this week. So, see, he is the copper hamster's over there crafting a planet. So, let's start with you, Otis. How did your week go? What did you find out there?
It was rather uneventful. I kept getting sidetracked throughout the week. Never did make it to that nebula that I was planning on visiting. But there are more nebulas along the way, so it's not like I'm missing anything. But I did locate a water world.
Sweet. So,
And it was about, like, maybe 3 jumps away from the carrier for my DBX, so that's like 150 light years.
yeah. So not bad. I don't think anyone's yet found an Earth-like out here, but yeah, that's a good find. Water worlds are always welcome. And I assume you scanned it and all the good stuff. So the subject of nebulas. Oh, go ahead.
This is what the game looks like before you've done much terraforming.
Mars. And again, I know on stream you can't see what E's describing, but it's a new game. It's an early release game on Steam, right? That you're looking at. Planet Crafters is what he's describing. But back to Elite. On the subject of Nebula, that's true. We're actually. Let me bring up the map here because that is something I wanted to mention. Let me see, galaxy map. Need to get a drink here. All right, caffeine is required to navigate the carrier.
There we go.
So here on the big map, you can see our intended course all the way out to the Perseus arm. There's another fleet carrier out there, part of the DSS network, that hopefully we'll be able to rendezvous with. But if you'll notice, we're entering an area where there are numerous nebula. Lots and lots and lots of nebula. Big nebula, small nebula, all over the place. And they're reasonably close to the carrier for those that have ships with a good jump range. I know not everybody does. So that's why in a few weeks' time, as we make our way to Temple, we're going to park the carrier right next to a nebula. I mean, literally right on top of one. So, and that's what you're seeing here. This one, I picked this one for this stop because it's a little out of the way. It's any nebula by now has been pretty much picked over. Well, I'm sure visited extensively by folks that are exploring and trying to find something interesting to see. But there are actually a couple of nebulas in this area. But this one, I'm pretty sure should be kind of interesting. And it will be easily accessible for anybody on the ship, Sidewinder on up. So that's something to look forward to down the road. But as I say, in the meantime, I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, wow.
There's a whole bunch of nebula that are along this corridor. So lots of opportunities if folks want to wander off and just see the sights. Again, nebulas are not going to be places you go to find new stuff, because people have been there. They're an obvious, like a watering hole in the desert. Lots of explorers go there, and even these ones that are 10, 15,000 light years out, I'm pretty sure are popular spots. Particularly the emission nebulas, because they're very picturesque. But yeah, lots of opportunities for nebula here in this corridor over the next few weeks. All right, good deal. So, and also on the subject of nebulas, by the time we get to the one where we're going to be parking right next to it, we'll probably be needing to refuel at that point. Spend maybe more time than we normally do gathering fuel for the next leg, which goes up to the Perseus arm and the DSS-A carrier. That away. Can't really make it out. Yeah, that away. There we go. Now I got it. So, but that's something you don't have to worry about right now. Like I say, it's a... let's see, how many jumps out? We're doing... Yeah, that's about a month out.
I'd like to bring attention back to the aforementioned Waterworld. I'm looking at my Universal Cartographics payout, and just the detailed surface scan for that Waterworld alone is the only planet that I hit with DSS in that system, and just that planet alone, the payout is 3.3 mil.
Yeah, it's got to be terraformable then. So that's good. Earth likes water worlds and metal riches. If you're really dedicated, have great payouts. And yeah, particularly if they're terraformable. Anything terraformable gives you a bonus. Oh, hello. Captain Oracle has deigned to join us. Let me see if I can get him into a comfortable spot so he's not destroying things. Kind of see him on camera. Yeah, that's how he's decided to plop down. All right, bud. So they are definitely a good find. Let's see here. Gonna get back to this. 8 minutes left on our first jump. So, all right then. Well, E, how'd you do out there?
I didn't have any time to do anything with I just played Planet Crafter's all I played this week.
Attention. Carrier jump sequence is underway. Lockdown begins in 5 minutes.
Yeah, making and spreading those innocent-looking rockets, no doubt. Yeah.
5 minutes to jump. Exciting.
It is. Oh, I always like the jumps and the carriers. Yeah, there's always something to look forward to. A little bit of a show. And I know you're not on the carrier, but T, did you get any Elite Dangerous time in this week?
No, I wasn't able to do any elite. I had other issues. So.
So it's kind of like RLTG all around.
Yeah.
Well, okay. We did have some news this week, and I'll probably actually discuss it a little bit more after the jump. But we have made a habit of, as we are going through this, hopefully people are taking lots of screenshots and adding them to our Discord channel, and go through and pick out the best and submit a couple to the Stellar Screenshots competition for Elite Dangerous. That is, every week they pick out a few screenshots from the batch that they get and feature them on their Twitch stream that they have on Thursdays. And we actually got one featured. So I'm quite surprised and pleased about that result. So congratulations to Glooby Palooby, who took the winning screenshot. Which, as I say, I'll show that after our jump. But that just means, as you find interesting stuff, you go out there and just take a bunch of pictures. You know, that's that was my dad used to be a journalist and photographer, and that's what he always said is, you know, whenever you need to go out there and do your thing, you take 100 pictures and you end up using one. And that was his. That seems to be the trick. You just keep taking shots, and until you find just lucky enough to happen to get the right one. So that was a positive outcome, and congrats to Glooby. There's a paint job in it, I understand. So hopefully we'll get a picture of that paint job at some point here, probably next week, after they've had a chance to get it and apply it. So, good deal. I don't know if you folks have actually seen some of the screenshots that are featured, but they're very good. It's almost as though you're looking at, in many cases, screenshots that are lined up by professional photographers. They're just that much quality to them. So it's always kind of a treat to see who gets picked and what they actually look like. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Well, I see that we have looking around here. Yeah, see there are some others on the carrier with us that just aren't in voice, so they may be watching stream and just along for the ride tonight, which is perfectly fine.
T. O'Neill's going to join us watching on Twitch because he still has PTSD from his Blackadder incident.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That's a good memory. I know it's not good for him, but I look back on that fondly. Hey, you fell off the carrier. How'd that happen? Oh my gosh. So that's actually, good advice there. The whole Blackadder thing caused me. I was doing my jumps and these carrier jumps in my Type 9, which is because I used the Type 9 to transfer fuel from storage into the fuel tank on the carrier. You know, it's got this huge cargo hold. And then that happened to him, and I said, okay, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. Because I don't want to end up having to use the Type 9 to catch up to the carrier. So, yeah.
Come on.
There we go. Just over 2.5 minutes. I'm trying to keep Captain Oracle here entertained so he doesn't interrupt the jump sequence. Yeah.
I think you can interrupt it now.
Oh, you'd be surprised what he's capable of. Yeah, TNL, I know. Being spaced, I don't know that that's exactly what happened to you. Being spaced suggests shoved out an airlock in real space, but you ended up being shoved out an airlock in witch space. Good Lord. I can only imagine what that experience was like. What are you doing there? There we go. So after we're done with our jumps tonight, we'll be right on the border of Temple, the next region over. And after that, we will be in Temple, and then moving on to Centaurus, and maybe one more region between us and Perseus. Lots of regions in the galaxy. And as much as we're moving around, we're still only covering like 3 or 4 or 5. Like an orc in the rift, T. O'Neill says. Yep. Wog for sure. Log for sure. All right, 1 minute.
Need to redo the fish yang icon with the good one
Which one? Where?
in the Twitch chat. We've got the old fish yang icon, the kind of rough.
Oh, right. Yeah. So that's. It's kind of like all you guys, RLTG, you know. So, but yeah, here we go.
Listen to those Terminator noises.
Yeah. Okay, let's see where we end up. Light. So we're on the opposite side of the sun, it looks like.
I do believe we are. I believe it's behind us to the left. I'm going to hop out of the ship real quick, get the honk in, and then I think I'm going to go find me some dinner. It has been a long day.
I understand. I keep hearing that from people.
It's contagious.
I guess. It's Thursday.
Thursdayisms. Thursdisms.
Thursdays?
I'm not sure I like that.
Yeah, that doesn't necessarily sound like a good word. So we're just gonna watch Otis take off, do this honk, and then we will continue on our journey. And after that, I have the screenshots for this week, and we'll go through them and see what folks saw.
I gotta go into my ship menu and retract the landing gear that way because I still haven't figured out which key I have it mapped to on this new flight stick yet.
Uh-huh. Well, you can honk without actually retracting your landing gear, I think. So.
Oh there.
What game mode are you in?
I'm in our private group.
I don't see you.
Are you in the private group?
I thought I was.
Because Copper Hamster's in here with me.
Well, shoot.
Yeah, I don't see you.
All right. Well, I guess let me pop out. I am in a private group, so I may not have been in the right private group.
You're in one of the private groups.
I'm in a private group. That's right. Private group. Yeah, I may have been in Fleet Com.
All right, honk performed. Let's
I was on the bridge a moment ago. How did you get back here?
view this system map.
Ah, yeah, there we go. That's looking better. I see copper.
There we are. First discovered by Tesseract.
Oh no! Isn't that like yeah, that's all sorts of danger there. Yeah, there's a little copper hamster. So much better. Now we're actually in the same instance of the ship.
I was wondering what was going on because I didn't see your name tag up there on the bridge.
I was there in spirit. Yes, Oracle is always wearing his white socks. He's clearly a baseball fan. And if he ever shows up with red socks, well, yeah, that would be a bad sign. Well, given the lighting, it might be like blue socks. I wonder how that works. Oh, there we go. Yep. Yeah, we see the ship now. So what was out there?
A whole bunch of ice planets and rocky planets.
Okay.
Not a whole lot.
Nothing too
Nothing spectacular, no.
Gotcha. Oh, hello, C. How's it going?
All right. I've been lurking, watching on the other channel.
All right, excellent. So how are things going for you these days?
Well, pretty well. I'm just going to make the same claim as everyone else. It's just, been a rough day.
Long day, yeah.
But, so, I got in, checked things out, and logged back out and just settled back in my chair and watching on the stream.
Oh, fair enough. Well, we'll hopefully give you a little bit of entertainment value as we go along. We're gonna just wait for Otis to park, and
Yeah.
then we will
I'm going
proceed to the next
Park, then I'm gonna go get some snackage and then hop back on if I get back in time to join y'all for the last of the jumps.
All right, fair enough. All right, I see that you've landed, so I'm going to go ahead and lay on the next course. So, if we carry.
Drop to the hangar. I said drop to the hangar. There you go.
Oh yeah, I see it down there. Okay. Yeah, it looks like a little Class M. Little red dwarf.
We are parked.
Let's see. So we're gonna galaxy map.
I'm going to go acquire my snackage now. I will hopefully see y'all again soon.
All right. Well, we're going to continue these jumps. We've got about 2,000 light years to go.
Indeed. Safe travels while I'm away and all that.
Well, thank you. Hopefully, we won't run into any Thargoids.
Hopefully not, because I would like a chance to actually engage them with the Avalon's Gate.
I'm not sure how that will turn out. I wonder how the carrier would fare.
Probably terrible, but the carrier would probably do better than I will anyway. Anyway, I must go.
Yeah, get your food. We'll see you in a bit. All right. Well, let me see. Did you get a chance to do anything in Elite this week?
I did. I actually made several scans. There were so many moons in that system.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a ton of them.
And I went through and scanned several of those. And I'm letting my data sit to see if it grows any as we travel.
Okay, well, I thought you'd done that experiment. A
It
couple
made a
of.
little bit of a difference, but now I'm actually, since that's the only thing in my data channel is that 1 day's search.
Mhm.
So now I got a baseline to see how much it changes. If it's like 10%, 20%, whatever it winds up being.
Okay, well, fair enough.
So I left it
It's
in
worth
there.
a shot. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Oh, I got enough in there now to move up to the next ship. It's just,
Sweet.
it's just outfitting it,
Well, I mean, I guess before start with these screenshots, something I wanted to toss out to the group while we have something of a forum. So, if we find a likely spot, I'd like to do. There are a couple of possibilities. Um, races either with sidewinders or SRVs. And a sidewinder race would look like basically we pick a destination out there somewhere that you have to jump to, and a good example of that was something they had on the Frontier stream today, where there's a race that's been around for a while called the Buckyball. And the rules are you have a sidewinder, there are numerous obstacles, you can't have shields, and you can't stop for fuel. Yet you have to do certain things, go certain places, and not blow up, and all that. So it might be kind of a fun exercise if we can find a suitable area here in the next few destinations. And the SRV thing is also similar. We find a planet that has some interesting terrain, shall we say, and say go from this ship to that ship, and see who gets there first without wrecking their SRV. So stuff that we might fiddle with, but I think the problem with that is I think I can organize it easily enough on the fly. It's just the problems that all of you have been telling me about, and actually that I am probably very soon going to be sharing, is not enough time in the day. So, RLTG. So it might be something you might think about, like a Sunday afternoon, because I think that's probably our best bet. Maybe a Sunday evening, but the rest of the time we pretty much allocated to games, streams, and all the other stuff that we do.
Oh, yeah.
So just wanted to put the thought out there. All right, so screenshots. So the winning screenshot for the
I still hadn't quite got real fast with it yet.
Oh hell, yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. We're just here to enjoy ourselves. Not like I can give you a cake or anything as a reward, so right. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, cake. So yeah, that's the screenshot that got featured today.
That does look like a shadow ship.
Yeah, that's what leapt out at them. It kind of looks like the shadows from Babylon 5.
Aye.
And yeah, you can certainly see that. Yeah. So yeah, Lord help us if the shadows show up here, right? So much for the carrier being invulnerable. What happened to?
Attention all personnel. Carrier jump sequence has been initiated. Attention. Carrier jump sequence has been initiated.
Carl's letting us know that soon we will be elsewhere. But this was the new metallic formation field that we found a couple of stops ago, a couple of weeks ago. We found 2 of these so far, and this was the only one that had not been previously found by anybody. So that's our claim to fame. There is that we were the first to find it, and we got that nod from the screenshot folks in the community group for taking that shot. So yeah, I was pretty pleased with that. Let's see what else. What other screenshots we have? Yeah, that's just a shot of the Ardent standing here. We're actually exactly where I'm at right now, just looking out over the landing pads. So Otis was talking about water worlds. Yeah, found some more. This is a shot of one that had just unusual weather effects. It's just stormy, stormy, stormy. Here you see a couple of hurricanes. Actually, three. There's one kind of on the horizon there, just towards the arc, on the left. And this thing was just covered in weather fronts all over the place. Which, not all of the water worlds out there have an atmosphere that you can have conductive weather in. A lot of them just look like big blue balls that with just the water and the reflection of the star or stars. But this one was a terraformable, and that's one of the features is you have an atmosphere that's thick enough to have convective weather. So let's see here, and yeah, we're just seeing some additional shots. Same planet, different angle of those two storms.
Attention, carrier jump sequence is underway. Lockdown begins in 5 minutes.
Okay, this was the other field that we found this week. This one had been previously discovered, but the interesting thing about this field is that there were actually two Lagrange point anomalies in the same system. So for those that don't know what a Lagrange point is, when you have multiple bodies orbiting each other, the gravity forms an interference pattern, and there are 5 gravitationally stable points in the orbit of the smaller body, and those points tend to collect debris. So, and they're also kind of an important target for station keeping for satellites and such like that. If you want to send them far, far away, you don't have to use as much fuel to maintain a stable orbit there, because they're not having to fight the gravity of the parent bodies. So Lagrange points are perfect places for stellar life to create these sorts of formations, and that's exactly what you're hearing here too. When you have two Lagrange points in the same system, there were two along the same orbital path. So there was a big gas giant, and then to either side of it, you had these Lagrange points. So they were physically similar to the previous find, just different colors, different composition. So this one had, I think, 3 colors in the system. They call it purple, and that kind of rustic looking color that you see there.
Any passengers who wish to remain in the system must depart the carrier within the next few minutes.
And I think I tried to get a shot or two to give a sense of the scale. Yeah, like that. You'll see the ASP Explorer there in the shot. And that gives you an idea of its size compared to the size of these things. I mean, they are very large. This is getting closer to the ASP, so the perspective is a little bit skewed. This is just a shot of the ASP retreating from the field. Let's see. I know this one doesn't come out very clearly, but in the foreground, you have a ringed gas giant with ammonia-based life, and it is co-orbiting a ringed gas giant with water-based life. The two of them right beside each other, and the number 2 one is a little too far to make out too clearly, but it's there, center left. The series of dots that you see, but it's I've never actually seen two like that right next to each other. I thought that's quite phenomenal. And that's where that find was, just for reference. And another phenomenal find was a system with 3 water worlds and 2 metal-rich worlds. 2 of the water worlds were terraformable, co-orbiting each other, and you see them both here. So those are actually fully terraformable water worlds. The second one is on the right, kind of middle of the screen. I'm not sure if that's possible to make out. Kind of right below where Oracle is resting. And then you got the other one in the foreground.
Alice and Trellis.
Right. And the third one was not terraformable in a different orbit further out, so it was a little too cold. Yeah, but these two, that's like, yeah, here you go. We're out on a fishing trip. Hey, hey, hey. So, got $9 million for the system. So that was an excellent payout for just one system. Yeah, that's a shot that kind of, Oracle's blocking it, but yeah, that's another shot at a different angle. Okay, I need to find my seat, so let me do that. There you go. I'm gonna be seated if I don't do this. So come on, give me the menu. I need to turn this off while we're doing the jump. So go to share like that. Okay. Alright, there we go. Now you can see that. We'll get back to the screenshots here in a moment. But hopefully you see what I mean. I mean, taking dozens of screenshots and only a few of them are worth actually sharing. But it's you're gonna find something interesting out there if you go looking for it. It's almost guaranteed. Jump number 2 coming up. So how much we got here? About 2 minutes. All right. And Captain Oracle, he is out. So. I guess if he could tell us, he'd, like everybody else would say, it's been a long day. Although his long day primarily consisted of napping. I mean, I can attest to this.
All decks are signed off. The crew is set for hyperspace.
I'm ready. I'm not ready.
Attention all personnel. The frame shift drive has been engaged.
He always says that with a note of finality.
Attention. Counting down to jump. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Right in the face. Alright, where in the world do we have here? Okay.
Carrier jump successful. Security checks have begun. Attention. Lockdown protocols have been lifted. All services are now available. Thank you.
Imagine that once again it's below us or behind us. So let me go ahead and, if nobody's going to pop out, I'll go ahead and lock in the next system. Get that. There we are. Check our trusty dusty spreadsheet. The carrier. I'll look around a little bit. Oh, there we are. It's probably a K. A bit more substantial. K or an O. Or K. Alright. Well, let's get this thing going. Next stop. Right here. At 496.76 light years. I cool down. I've got to give the drive enough time to cool down. I'm always impatient. Yeah, it's got a couple minutes. Alright. Well, while it's doing the cool down, we'll continue with this. So, I basically wanted to feature a planet with a blue sky. I landed here because there were tons of biological signs. I don't remember how many. 5, 6, or 7 is usually the threshold for something that is interesting enough to want to go check it out. Hello, hi there. So, this world had a variety of terrains, but the blue sky was really caught my eye. We've come across thin atmospheres, argon atmospheres, those beautiful reds, but blue is not something I've seen quite a lot, except on of course the Odyssey trailer. Got quite a few shots of this, so yeah. There's the Milky Way, our parent sun, and the one of the tail fins on the ass. And you can't see it. It's very faint, but in the center, upper left, is the gas giant that this thing is orbiting. It's very faint off in the distance there. It's blue on blue, so as one would expect, a little bit difficult to see. I like this shot. This was that shot that Otis took several jumps back when we just happened to catch the Milky Way galaxy bisecting the carrier, and you see those carriers' big engine lights. Okay, cooldown's complete. I'm going to go ahead and set the next jump. Open. That's why you're hearing the sounds change, even if you can't see me do it. $496.78 light years. Okay, here we go. And jump number 3 is laid in. And then you see, kind of in the center of the screen, with the yellow engine, is Otis's Fertilance. So he seems eager to want to shoot things with it, but I'm not sure he'll ever get the opportunity out here. Not until we get to Colonia eventually. And that's the Fertilance again. It's just sitting there on the pad. Okay, well that's all the screenshots I had this week to share. And as I say, just take lots of shots and send them all in, and Yeah, we'll go through and pick out the best and show them here, and then we'll take a few of those and submit them to the screenshot competition. The stellar screenshots. And as I said, this week we were blessed. We got lucky. So let me get out of here and see what we got going on here. All right, get out of here. How far out are you? Right. Okay. Right now we're about, I want to say 8,000 light years. By the time we're done with this series of jumps, we'll be 10,000. And the plan, let me pull up our map. We're slow boating it. We're not in a hurry. We're just out there on a fishing trip. So we have the series of weekly jumps in 2,500 light year increments. That's going to take us a while to get to the Perseus arm, then to Colonia, and then eventually to Sagittarius A star. And we're hopeful that we're passing through areas of the galaxy that have not been much picked over. This is where we are now. And this is where we're headed. Here is our destination for the end of the evening, which just happens to be close to the border of Temple. Yeah, there we go. Now you can see the regions. Here's the bubble back here. This is where we are, and this is our path out to the Perseus arm. Each one of the waypoints is a week's travel. And then when we get out here, where we're hoping to find one of the DSSA fleet carriers to just kind of wave at those guys, then we'll lay over there for a bit, explore around Perseus, and then head over to Colonia. Then from Colonia, got a roundabout path that goes up to head over to Sagittarius A star eventually. And that is our plan. It's going to take about, at this point, about 5 or 6 months to complete the journey. And we have probably about 20 commanders that are tagging along. Not all of them, certainly not all of them here on stream with us tonight. But they're probably all like our guys. It's been a rough week, so we haven't had a chance to go out there and explore much. But that's why we're doing this like this. We're all casual gamers. We have realized we don't necessarily have a lot of time. But when we get time, we want to be someplace that we can pop out of the carrier and tool around, explore, and head back and turn our stuff in and keep on trucking. And this gives us plenty of opportunity. Lots of folks here haven't really done exploration in Elite Dangerous all that much, so they haven't really had the experience. I find it probably one of the most relaxing things I can do in a game. So that's our plan. That's where we are. This is where we'll be. We actually have our itinerary posted in a couple of places, but so far we've managed to hold to it. All right, good deal. So while we're waiting for our next jump countdown, did anybody have any questions or comments about plans or what we're doing? Elite Dangerous in general?
Attention all personnel. Carrier jump sequence has been initiated. Attention. Carrier jump sequence has been initiated.
Yep. The only one speaking is Carl. Okay.
Actually,
I'm starting to get a handle on flying the thing. Now I got to figure out how to get all my scans done better. What's the range for most things?
Right. So that honk that you do to kind of get the lay of the land covers the entire system.
Right.
So you can, one honk, you get it all. And the next step, the full spectrum scanner, again covers the entire system. Once you've honked, you can see all the bodies in that interface, and do your zoom in on each one to identify it. And if you get 100% of them, that's when you get full payment for the system. So it's the detailed surface scanner that's the part that you're lacking, right? That we can't sell it on the carrier because we have them, but there's a bug right now. When you get one, you do have to approach the planet that you want to scan and get fairly close. It varies depending on the size of the planet, but typically it's within a few light seconds if it's a big one, or a few thousand kilometers if it's a really small one. You'll know because it'll tell you if it's in range or not. And then that interface is a mini game where you're firing off probes to try to hit the yeah, exactly, honk FSS surface scan. That's right. And that mini game, it can be challenging, but you kind of get the hang of it after doing it a few times. You're trying to cover the entire planet with probes that have limited coverage capability. So big planets require more probes, and you have to aim them properly around the sphere in order to get maximum coverage, at least 90%, and then it pumps you up to 100. Let's see. Yeah, you have a fellow in chat here that says he went to Sagittarius A a long time ago.
Sequence is underway. Lockdown begins in 5 minutes.
So, yeah, actually, it's been 2 years since I went to Sag A Star, and that was part of the Distant Worlds 2 expedition. And actually, that was 16 weeks, and I dragged myself the whole way, all the way out to Beagle Point and back. I really enjoyed it. I mean, that's where I got. I already had the bug for doing exploration, but that's where I got the bug for doing it as a means of relaxing. Just something to go out there and kind of apply my curiosity in astronomy. I'm not an astronomer by trade, but I do love astronomy. To this model of the Milky Way galaxy that Frontiers created for us, which is truly remarkable. No other game has dared implement things on this scale or this scope, and tried to do it in a science-based, realistic fashion. So that's what I like about it, is going out there and seeing what there is to see, and occasionally coming across something beautiful, taking the screenshots that we've shown tonight, and sharing them with each other and the world at large. As for the DSS, let's see, the small moons might have be covered by 2 probes. Typical terrestrial worlds require 6 or 7. Gas giants, which you almost never want to do because you don't really get any bonus from them,
Right.
might take 12 to 20. And it's the terrestrial ones that you're going to get the payout for if you're interested in the money for exploration.
Right.
Because they're the ones that are water worlds, Earth-like, ammonias, metal-rich. Particularly if they're terraformable, you get big bucks for walking up to one with a DSS and scanning it. And that's what Otis was talking about before. He scanned one and got 3 million for it.
Right.
So yeah, it is a way to to get good income in Elite, but it's, in terms of game systems, it's slower than many other systems. Trade, combat, all have been pumped up, so that they're by far preferable. Whereas exploration is kind of your casual passive man's passive income source, right? Because you're out there exploring, and I guess I need to sit down. And particularly with carriers, the risk reward is much more on the reward side, because back in the day, before carriers and no stations out there in the black, you were at risk if you lost the ship for any reason. You ran into a sun, heat death, crashed into a planet, whatnot. You lost all that work. And like I say, Distant Worlds, one of one of many expeditions, but I got one bill. Yeah, exactly. Right. You, um, there are other ways. If you're interested in making money in Elite Dangerous, exploration is not the way to do it, because
Oh yeah.
there are other ways for sure that are much more efficient. But let's see, the Distant Worlds thing was a 16-week long expedition without the benefit for most of the journey of stations or carriers. And so the people that went that whole way out and back, I agree, it is absolutely fun. I love it. Okay, Captain Oracle has decided to direct us towards the bottom of the command deck. So hold on, let me move the mouse right. Hey, buddy. So we're at terrible risk of losing everything that they had worked towards. And it's one thing to lose a ship in combat, where your station is right over there, you pay the rebuy cost, and you get right back at it. Whereas if you were an explorer back in the day, if you lost 16 weeks worth of work, you're in tears.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the risk, and I don't think the reward was commensurate with it at the time. But now there are carriers scattered throughout the galaxy. Effectively, you're always within 10,000 light years, max, of somebody you can dock with and repair and maybe turn in data. So it's a lot better now than it used to be. In most areas of the galaxy, it's even denser. I looked at a map of carriers before we went on the trip, and the closest carrier to us is about 2,000 light years away. So, big risk, big reward, great feeling. Absolutely. I can't tell you, when I got back from Distant Worlds 2 and finally docked, and I was shaking, on that docking, on the approach to the station. Okay, don't screw this up. Don't screw this up. Gently set it down. Okay, we're here. Pay, get paid for everything, and it was like pages and pages and pages and pages of turn-ins. So yeah, that's right. It was quite a moment. But nowadays, I'm not that stressed about it. It's going out there for fun and just finding what we can find. Yeah, exactly. And then there was a time before docking computers too, right? So a lot of exploration I did at that time was in smaller ships, so you could find a platform, and I find those easier to dock on. One of the smaller stations with only smaller medium pads. But yeah, you're trying to fit through the slot when you haven't been through one in like eight months. Yeah, that was stressful. Now we have docking computer this and docking computer that. And yeah, it's kind of fun to listen to the Blue Danube all day, but it's not like it was. Although some of our commanders on this trip insist on docking manually. Either they've decided that they wanted that extra, couple of tons to increase the jump range, or they just like scratching the paint on the carrier. In fact, one of them brags about it. So, yeah. Oh, here we go. Next jump. The lights dim, always a good sign, or bad sign. A sign, anyway.
You don't need an alert sound. They're
let's see what we have here. Captain Oracle. I want to see what's ahead of us. Hey, we actually have a star. Okay. Captain Oracle decided to move the mouse so we could not have to see the star appear. We're not headed straight for that star. Oh, thank you. I've really enjoyed working with SRVs on planet surfaces. Now, there's a lot of controversy about Odyssey and walking around, and valid controversy as well. But I've even found some of the planetary exploration Odyssey based, where you're landing on planets with thin atmospheres that are just gorgeous. It's like I was showing earlier, a blue sky on one of these moons. It's like that was impressive. But most of them are paper thin atmospheres. The ones that you get that are like noble gases look gorgeous. You have this kaleidoscope effect, from horizon to sky, depending on the color of the star and how close you are to it, and it's just visually fantastic. And the SRV itself, I've gotten in a lot of trouble with. I've had several adventures on planets where I'm driving around just seeing the sights, and I get caught in a place that I can't recall the ship, because if you get far enough away from the ship, it takes off and leaves you behind, and then you have to recall it to have it land nearby you in order to get back aboard. But if you get in the rough terrain, there's no place for it to land, so you have to work your way out of the rough terrain. And I ended up in a mountain range and got caught in gullies and valleys, and drove off cliffs. It was, that was quite an adventure in and of itself. So that's kind of the way Elite is with exploration. You make your own adventure as you ply along and do your thing. Not scripted. There's no particular quest giver. There's no guy with a question mark or exclamation mark over his head. Instead, it's just it's you motivating yourself to go out there and see what there is to see. Cool. So, that's right. That's right. Yeah, it is. It's a bumpy ride in the SRV, man. No matter you might get an ice world that's smooth, but even then you're gonna hit. But most of the time, you're just bouncing around. It's very much like off-roading. So let me get lined up for our next jump. That was jump number 3 of 5. It takes us a little bit over halfway. All right, so we're done with that one. And then we're gonna go here next. Okay, good deal. Bring me to fleet carrier control. Let's look around a little bit. So it looks like we have let's see what we have in front of us. Big star. Just glancing around to see if there are any other stars nearby. No. Okay. Oh my gosh. And to folks in voice chat, I'm conversing with somebody on the text chat on the stream here. So he's mentioned about the challenge of landing on a high G world. Oh, okay. I actually have a couple stories about that. Let's see. But let me lay this course in, and we can let the count down while we're talking. All right. So jump number 4 is there. 498.17 light years away. Locked in. Okay, so the the deal with high G worlds, for those that don't know, is I think the game. This used to be the case. I heard of a story recently where somebody actually landed on a 40G world, which is just what? But it used to be hard capped at 9Gs or 10Gs. But the game would allow you, under certain circumstances, to land on worlds with gravity up to that much. And it goes about as well as you'd expect. So the landing on a 1G world is pretty trivial. Anything less than 1G, even more trivial, because the engines on these on the ships, even the explorers, and there's an important caveat to how explorers are fitted, can handle 1G pretty easily. But there's a direct relationship between the thrust capacity of your engines and its rating versus the mass of the ship. So if you, as is typical with exploration fits, get a weaker engine, sometimes a very weak sublight engine, just to have freed up the space to maximize your jump capacity, then that means that the gravity of worlds that you can safely land on is much reduced than if you had a Class A max-sized engine for that same ship chassis. So this has happened. I've seen, heard stories of, and seen folks with exploration-fitted anacondas far, far away from the bubble faceplant themselves on 4G worlds or better, just because they didn't realize that they just didn't have the engine to pull out of it. You know, they had fitted their Connie or ASP or whatnot for exploration. It worked great as long as you weren't in a gravity well. But the moment that you got close to the surface of the planet, you just didn't have the engine thrust to thrust away from it. It just dragged you right down until you died or got stuck. How fast you fall, of course, depends exactly on the. I haven't done a 9G. I've done a maybe a 5 or a 6, and certainly not far from the bubble. I didn't want to risk it, but I think I did a 3G on the other side of Sagittarius A star. You know, halfway between A star and Beagle Point. Because at that point, I kind of learned what my limits were, and 3G was pushing it in my Anaconda at the time. But the thing is, with very high G worlds, even with a ship with a maximum thrust engine, you had to goose it. You had to be very careful about how you actually approached it. People, when they land, they're normally used to letting the thrusters and not the main engine handle the thrust necessary to counteract the force of gravity. So you actually kind of, this attitude with the ship. Whereas if you're on a high G world, you need to let more and more of the main engines take care of keeping you off the ground. And if you don't, then those thrusters have much less thrust capacity than the main engines do. That's intuitive. But you really don't know until you get to a high enough G world and you're just falling if you're in the normal landing attitude. You just can't keep the thrust up. So what people used to do with high G worlds is descend vertically, just like Buck Rogers' rocket. Just use the main engines to coast down very carefully until they got kind of close to the surface. And then in this risky maneuver, they'd have to transition from vertical thrust, to a landing attitude, which is still horizontal. So you have to go from, okay, I'm safe like this, and I can maneuver up and down using the main engines, but how do I go from here without just smashing into the ground like a pancake? And lots of people came up with different techniques to make that happen, and some of them were really creative. But that's the challenge of landing on high G worlds. Is it's not the same as what you're used to. Just kind of coast in, come out of Super Cruise, and then land in a horizontal position, lower your landing gear, off you go. High G worlds, not so much. You have to land vertically, let the main engines keep you off the ground, and then plonk. Now, great, you've landed successfully. You're not dead. How do you get off that thing? That's another challenge, because now you're horizontal. How do you, and you don't have the thrust to go straight up. So what people used to do is on high G worlds that they had to use this vertical landing technique, is they would boost straight off the surface with the main engines and try to pull it from this horizontal thing using boost thrust into something that the main engines could take over from. And what you had to do is immediately raise the landing gear. You hit boost, raise the gear, go. And yeah, that's right. One G is good enough for us. Oh, okay, Captain Oracle wants us to look at the skylights. All right, buddy. We'll look at the skylights for a minute. It's okay. No, we're looking at the theaters. Okay, bud. He is very relaxed and stretched out. Let me turn it around here. Okay, there we go. It's okay, bud. You're good. You're good. I'm trying not to disturb the cat because he seems to be particularly well behaved this evening. But yeah, his feet are all splayed over the mouse, so every time he kind of stretches and moves, the mouse moves with him. And I've actually seen some people do this, where they're there he goes again. Well, they're doing this boost straight off the surface trick, and if they don't get it right, boom. And one poor guy managed to land, doing the vertical and transition to horizontal thing, but there was a rock in his way. You don't necessarily have a lot of control about what's in front of you when you do this landing, right? You land where you land. There's a rock in his way. So he had to find a way around it, so he had to kind of do a half roll in order to get around this rock and still scrape the paint. So all sorts of variations on the thing. With the carrier, maybe that would be an adventure. If we can find a high G world that's not far from the carrier. We were talking about playing with sidewinders. That might be something to play with, because I think it'd be kind of fun to try to practice landing on high G worlds when there's little risk. I wouldn't want to do that to you guys, out in the middle of nowhere with all your exploration data and no place to turn it in. That was just scary. But yeah, high G landings used to be something else. I don't know about this 40G world thing, if it was a glitch or what, but yeah, that's the only time I've ever heard of that. Yeah, right. It's a challenge for real. It's a challenge. Like few things are in Elite Dangerous in terms of flight. So yeah, no, good times. Good times. There's also occasional challenge on. Yeah, I believe it. And it depends on what sort of ship that you were fitted in at the time. Like we were talking about it before, exploration ships. Just have a. Okay, Captain Oracle really wants to look at the back. Just have a harder time of it. Because they just don't have the thrust to handle it. And it doesn't really matter, how big the ship is or well armored or shielded. That doesn't matter as much as the thrust to weight ratio. It's all about thrust. And all right. Ow. That sounds like a cramp.
Ooh, okay, it's good. It's good.
It's better.
Better.
All right. So, Copper, did you just kind of wander off? I don't want to leave you behind.
Yeah, I logged off.
Okay. In that case, I will take my seat. And I think I've managed to convince Captain Oracle here to reposition his feet. Yes, he has. He's now repositioned his feet on the coffee cup, where it will be perfectly safe. Yeah, I did my distant worlds run with a Connie, and that's my favorite exploration ship is the Anaconda. Oh, hey, bud, how you doing? How you doing?
If we do the high G thing, I'm gonna cheat.
Oh yeah, how so?
I brought my Imperial Eagle with me.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Thrust to weight ratio. Thrust to weight ratio.
It's got a tuned engine on it.
Oh man, really? Yeah, I would like to see how well you do in that thing. I think the idea of the thruster weight is the critical point is it's accurate. Just physics. So yeah, I'd like to see the eagle. The eagle has landed, as it were. We'll look out for a high G world that you can land on and try that out. It has to be pretty close to the carrier because of what our man just said about jump range. I don't know that you have
No,
with
it's a fighter. It's not
yeah,
got a lot of
you're not
jump
going
range.
far. So I think Connies and DBXs can routinely go 100 to 110 light years these days, and Otis, who was on earlier, his DBX was capable of doing about 107, I thought. My Connie today, because I like to carry around a fighter bay and SRVs and stuff, can only do like 77. Oh my gosh, man, what are you doing? He wants he wants to play. He's all over the keyboard and mouse now. What are you doing, man? You good boy. Yeah. There he goes. There he goes. Attack! Captain Oracle attacks. It's a mutiny. Ah. Okay. Again, we'll see if we can entertain the cat without destroying the carrier. Ah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that eagle probably has like a 10 or 15, of that the hamster was talking about. Whoa. Whoa, okay, here we go. It's an epic struggle, Captain Oracle. Ah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. No, I think he's had enough for a moment. Maybe. There we go. Now I can look back here. Wow, you have had enough. You wandered way over there. Yeah, that's right. If we have a brick on this carrier, I don't think I paid for one. Like 7 billion credits for this carrier, and I can't change the elevator music. I mean, what sort of deal is that? Wow.
I
Besides,
think the Cobb took over the brig.
yeah, probably. You gotta wonder where they have space for things on the carrier here. Many of us have many stored ships. There's, of course, the stack in the. See, bud. Oracle has left the building. He's headed for the brig, I guess. Yeah, there just didn't seem to be as big as it is, and it's huge. 3.5 kilometers long. But there still didn't seem to be enough space for all the ships and all of the parts and all the people. So I kind of wonder, where it all goes. I guess it doesn't matter as long as the bar stays open.
That's where it all goes. Still.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now the truth has been revealed.
Attention. Counting down to jump. 5, 4,
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
I agree. I love fleet carrier jumps. And always the kind of like this opening of presents at Christmas to see what you get when you come out. I could cheat and look at the map, but I kind of like the surprise. And our orientation's quite a bit different this time. We're kind of looking away from the Milky Way. It's
Carrier jump successful. Security checks have begun.
all right.
Attention. Lockdown protocols have been lifted. All
Let's see what we got here.
Thank you.
So once again, whoa, look up. What is that? Grab some caffeine here. Now there's something interesting out there. Let's see. I know. Okay. No, yeah, let's just look around. Where is the star? Okay. That's just the Magellanic Cloud, but it looked like there was a blue. Okay, there's a star. All right. So I guess that was just the Magellanic Cloud up there. I thought there might be a cloud effect or something, which would have been a pleasant surprise. But it looks like we have one star, a K or G, not a G, or a K. You see this straight line over here, so we probably have a gas giant out there. I remember back in the day before the honk used to reveal the entire system, you had to purchase different quality scanners to honk with, and the different quality gave you a certain limited range in light seconds. It was 500 and 1,000, and I don't recall if they had one that covered the whole system, but with those you would have to kind of eyeball things of interest that were beyond that 1,000 light second radius when you first entered the system. And so what you would do is you'd just look around, and if you found something like what we're looking at here off to the left, which is a pattern of looked like stars in a row, that's probably a gas giant and its moons. So you fire up your Super Cruise and motor over there until you get close enough and honk again, and you would end up traveling all over the system just to find these things that were more than 1,000 light seconds out. Sometimes you didn't get them all at all, and you folks have run across this, because sometimes you'll come across a system that someone's already been to, but they've only explored like a few things on the inside, and then like the first 5 planets of a 20 planet system, and then everything beyond planet 5 is unexplored. Well, that might be a legacy from those old days, because somebody came through a long time ago when they didn't have those system scanners that had infinite range. Oh yeah, I know. I have. I was a Kickstarter supporter, and I think at least one of our others was too. E, I think you too were a Kickstarter supporter. Because I remember playing Elite on my Commodore 64 back in the 80s. It was my favorite game back then. And talk about old tech. There you go. Yeah, exactly. E here used to play on an Apple II, I believe, or I don't want to speak for him, but I believe that was his experience with it. It was a great game. I loved it back then, and it's just gotten better now. And folks, again, we talked before about Odyssey and some of the missteps that have happened recently, but I'm looking at this with a long view, going back all those years, 40 years of history to this game, and it's just gotten better and better and better. So I have very few complaints. I'm just delighted with what it's become. Of course, gosh, back then, it's hard to describe how bad the graphics were. They were all you had at the time, but it's hard to describe to a modern audience just how it is. You have um, ornaments for your cockpit that show retro versions of ships, and that's what the game looked like. Just this line art, monochrome line art with just little random dots that could hardly be called a starfield. And man, getting the docking computer for the first time was like the height of accomplishment, because it was a little bit harder to get through the slot way back then. That's right. Agreed, absolutely. And in fact, the Frontier team seems to be going through some hard times right now. Maybe too many projects. I don't know the details, but I would think it's in all of our interest as players of the game to support them and let them move along at their own pace and just enjoy what we have while we have it. That's a lesson for life itself. Just enjoy what you have while you have it. All right, so we got one more jump tonight. And this will be our final stop for the next week. Open galaxy map. Oh, there's a big old blue nearby. Look at that. 499.93 light years, right at the edge. All right. I think I waited long enough for the cooldown. I've been very impatient with some of these jumps. Yep. So we're good to go. Let's see. All right. Good deal. Agreed. And I, for one, have no intention of stopping anytime soon. Try to find time to do it. As I said, for me, it's a relaxation thing. I go out there to explore, drain away the stress, find something interesting, kind of puzzle why that is the way it is. And I'm perfectly aware that it's a random number generator and procedurally generated systems and worlds, but that doesn't really stop from the wonder of it. People that are peering through telescopes or doing real astronomy today, they have the same sort of feeling. It's it's something I haven't seen before. However it got there, it's something that I haven't seen before. It's something that just piques the curiosity. Yes, it is. No one got to choose their parents, and no one got to choose, much about them, actually. The starting conditions of life were never a choice. Very true. Well, guys, on our last jump here, what do you guys have to say for yourselves? We've chewed away for quite a while here about retro gaming and the history of Elite and what we have today. Now, some of these guys I've just introduced to Elite for the first time. They're many of them are longtime friends of mine. Well, they're all longtime friends of mine that are in the voice chat right now. But I've tried to drag a few of them kicking and screaming to share my passion here.
You had me a docking computer.
I agree with you. It makes life a lot easier. Besides, you get to listen to Blue Danube, so hey, you can't beat it. Classical music while you let the computer do its thing.
They've done good. Things are better than when I first bought the game and tried to play.
So the last we heard from you were in a Cobra, right?
Yeah.
You worked your way up to a Cobra.
Yeah, got a Cobra Mark III that I'm currently working on slowly upgrading the different bits and pieces and bobs and bangles and all that jazz.
Sweet, sweet. Yeah, I know when you talked about getting the Cobra Mark III, we were yes, yes, yes. That's a great upgrade from where you are and last you a good while.
Uh, I, I I did a little bit of searching online about the ships and stuff, and like I said before, the thing that really got me about it was I wanted. He's like, it's a good multi-purpose. Do a little bit of everything. So that really kind of appealed to me. So
So in chat over here, they're saying that just wish I'd been born later to see maybe some of this in real life. Uh, I think that's probably the sentiment of most. To wonder what the future holds and to wish to be around to see it. Um, I can't say I disagree. I'm I'm positive that the future will not look like this. The way physics is developing, there may never be FTL technology, but there might be. Science fiction has posited uh, slower than light interstellar travel. There might be a thing that happens. Oh no, I was just commenting on your comment um, that I think.
Attention all personnel. Carrier jump sequence has been initiated. Attention. Carrier jump sequence has been initiated.
Yeah, Carl's letting us know that we're in for it now. That is probably the wish of most people to wonder what the future will hold and wish they could be around to see it. But and I don't disagree with that. I'm very much the same way. I'm very curious, not necessarily on the grand scale of elite, but things that are happening today. Um, Things with astronomy and exploration and the Artemis missions that are hopefully coming up. Maybe we'll see boots on the moon in our lifetimes. Um, that would be very nice. I think someone made the comment once that it would be a national shame. James Webb, yeah, for sure. Uh, it would be a national shame to allow uh, there to be a gap between the Apollo astronauts and new people on the moon. If we allowed the last Apollo astronaut to die before we put somebody else on the moon, what does that say about us? Um, and the James Webb thing. Hell, I remember when Hubble went up, and you started seeing some of the initial results from it, the deep field picture that's now famous. One of my I remember going to Kennedy years ago, and going to the IMAX theater there, and what they had showing at the time was a computer animation of a couple of Hubble images, and one was the deep field, where they would where they had you zoomed you through the galaxy cluster and out the other side, and turned around and went back, all in an IMAX theater, and and then the other one, which was almost, well, not almost as spectacular, was the Pillars of Creation, star forming nebula,
mm,
and that one was just jaw dropping to witness. It, IMAX, you've got VR these days, and VR does fine and dandy, but it's still not going to beat IMAX. IMAX is just, it's almost physically wrapping around you. Let's see here. If you look at the original plan for the space program, they wanted space stations as far back as 2010. That's right. Um, but nothing survives the budget. It's not. what can be said about that? I don't think most people give um, science investment, R&D, and the national science agencies credit for how much they punch above their weight. The NASA budget is 30 billion, which yes, money exactly, is like 30 billion, but that's literally a drop in the bucket compared to the United States budget as a whole. That's one defense program. So and yet it's NASA that has brought us so much in terms of being of practical results, as well as the inspiration of the exploits themselves. One example I give is I worked at a public school, and Thomas, you can kind of you've probably seen it as well, but nothing lights up those kids like talking about the space program. Where we are
Oh yeah.
happens to be nearby one of the Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama. And so we get we had the occasion to have engineers and NASA folks, come talk to the kids. And just nothing lights them up like talking about, that. That's inspirational. And if you don't give kids something to aspire to be inspired about, what's the point? You can have all of the national defense in the world if you don't have the generation to follow you to pick it up and make it better. So yeah, the science programs really punch above their weight. They're worth the investment, and I strongly disagree with anyone that says otherwise.
And they're slowly getting better. The STEM is really starting to take off, um, and, uh, and really get the kids' imaginations going and getting their you know creativity going and things like that. And it's getting there. It's going to take a little time, but it's getting better.
Yeah, and some of the programs that we're seeing, even in our rural schools, because we're in kind of rural Tennessee here, are impressive to watch. Robotics programs, computer language programs. It's nothing like you see in city school systems, which are much more better funded. But still, as you say, STEAM is everywhere. We had a question here. What's your thoughts on SpaceX and the revitalization of space? Great, except I will point out that uh, there is a one-to-one relationship. If you think about this in a historical context, there's a one-to-one relationship between national space programs and exploratory missions conducted by national powers throughout history. And I'm not just talking about Europeans. We're talking about the Chinese. Back in the days of the dynasties and such. National powers would fund exploratory missions for their own reasons. But that's how this exploration got started. And then commercial interests would come along behind them and the uh, take over the lead as the national missions had exhausted their purpose. So it's like what we're seeing with SpaceX and the Blue Horizon, Blue Origins, and all of those folks is Bighorn, is a kind of a natural evolution. It's an evolutionary thing that we've seen before, except this is in the setting of space, as opposed to just exploration of the seas and of the land on Earth itself. And I hope it continues, because it's the only way that um, general public acceptance of the idea of us being in space, utilizing space, useful things coming from exploration and the science that takes place there, is likely to happen, is if people can actually see the SpaceX's and those private companies being successful there. So more power to them. Yeah, because there's a strong motivation for the private companies to make it so, to make it cheaper. And you're absolutely right. It's all about money.
Well, and also the commercial entities that get involved with doing this stuff right here, they will will be the ones that will create something that's tangible for the public to see, to be able to, oh, we can do that. Oh, we can get that. And that's where it'll come from.
Yeah, and I agree with that. The example that we just talked about with NASA and the various science programs in the states being kind of invisible to the public. Yeah, it's exactly that point. Whereas the private entities, they have a strong motivation to be relevant, and so they're going to bring that to the public in very real ways that make sense to them. Well, here we go. Last jump in a minute. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing what happens here in 100 years. I know it's not going to. That's not going to be. Let's see. Yeah, if you can afford to book a flight, it would be worth it. I don't know. I think I'm a bit too old at this point. Well, I know John Glenn went up at 80, but good grief, he was an astronaut. He's in top health even at that age. So I'm not sure that fits all of us. All right, here we go.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Here. Yeah, that's right. William Shatner. Yeah, absolutely.
Carrier jump successful. Security checks have begun. Attention. Lockdown protocols have been lifted. All services are now available.
Well, I don't see the Milky Way. I see that straight line pattern of a gas giant, and you come. No, that's the wing. Never mind. Yeah, let's take a quick look around here. I'm kind of curious where our star is. But that is the final jump of the evening. We are where we're going to be for a week. Okay, check this out behind us. See, remember I mentioned that we're entering a region that has a lot of nebulas in it? Well, there you go. That's one of them right there. And as you approach that nebula, it'll get bigger and bigger and more detailed until, yeah, it just fills the screen. Let's see what we got close by. All right, so yeah, we got looks like another K. Don't really see anything else of note around here, except that beautiful nebula over there. I have to figure out which one that is. But yeah, we're close here to probably 4 or 5. So there's an opportunity if folks get out there and have the legs and endurance to make the trip. All right, sweet. Yeah, I remember the shuttle maxed out at 3 on a typical launch, 3 Gs. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I didn't pay attention to how much Shatner had to endure, but yeah, that I wouldn't be surprised. But I guess it just goes to show with Shatner, John Glenn, and some others that as long as you have the health, age isn't an object, which is heartening. So that opens up the opportunity to many, but yeah, it'll be a long time before it becomes as cheap as a flight. Like, if you want to book your budget airlines flight to space, you're gonna wait a while before it's $50. All right, fantastic. Well, gang, I enjoyed chatting with you. I'm glad that you could come along for the trip. This is our final destination for the evening. As I say, we're going to remain here for about a week. Everybody, get in your ships if you have the chance, and hopefully RLTG doesn't get in the way so much. And just get out there and see what there is to see. Clearly, there's plenty to see. Just looking around here to see if there's anything out the window of the lounge. This is the Milky Way, yeah. You can actually catch a bit of the Milky Way here in the lounge. Nice. So, Captain Oracle's back. He escaped from the brig.
It looks like it was maybe about a 30% increase over the course of the journey.
So you actually did get something? Nice.
We went from 230 to 265.
Okay, that's not bad.
So it wasn't bad.
There's Captain Oracle. He's back. How you doing, bud? Excellent. Good deal.
So I will turn such in right now. All right.
Yes, indeed. Well, everyone, thanks for watching. Enjoyed having y'all. Captain
Looking
Oracle.
for something, Commander?
Actually, I'll be taking a drink here shortly. Diet Pepsi as my normal. Captain Oracle and I say good evening, and you all have a great time. You take care. 07, Commanders.